What's going on, guys? It's DJ at Kuhl, and today we're going to be talking about how to make your drill beats more exciting. So we've all been there, right? We make this really hard beat, but you listen to it for like, half an hour, 45 minutes, and it just gets boring after a while. So I'm going to show you some simple tricks you guys can use to make subtle changes to the beat that won't like ruin the vibe of the beat, but will make it so that it can be listened to for long periods of time. It doesn't get boring. This is not going to be a tutorial on like how to make a beat, because I already got one made here. I'm just going to show you how to like change said beat to make it more interesting. So I'm going to play what I got right here. This was a quick hookup I did right before I recorded this, and it sounds something like this. So as you can hear, it's already going pretty hard, but if we just keep looping that over and over and over again, it's going to get boring. So I'm going to lay this out real quick, and then I'll come back and show you some very subtle changes that you guys can make to make the beat sound more interesting. Alright, so we got the beat laid out. I just put just a strictly melodic portion in the beginning here, and then it's just going to loop over and over again. So now we can make some changes to this actual layout to make it sound more interesting. So the first change that you can do is take out certain elements and add in certain elements. So I'm going to remove this flute here. This flute sounds like this. So I'm going to remove that. And also I'm going to remove this open hat. And I'm going to bring that in later so you can hear the change. Then we got 8 bars of this. Then we got 8 bars with the flute and the open hat. Now we need to change something again. So I'm going to remove some more elements. I'm going to remove the flute. I'm going to remove the open hat. I'm going to remove the kick, and that way when we end, this is kind of like a chorus section, like this portion here. When we end that, it'll sound different on the listener, when we jump into a verse. Besides rearranging physical components, adding and removing them, you can also pitch the melody up and down. So I'm going to make a copy of this portion of the melody here. Sounds like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pitch it down. And I'm going to sub it out in here. So we go from something that sounds like this. It's a very subtle difference, but it creates kind of like an atmosphere, a darker atmosphere, because you pitch it down. And you can also pitch stuff up, go vice versa. Something else that you can do to make your beat sound more interesting is actually change up the bass or substitute in like a different type of bass. Like I'm using an 808 here. You could substitute in a synth bass, and this is what I've done here. I went into massive and I pulled out a synth bass. You go from something that sounds like this. So that adds, a different aspect, a different element. Something else that will catch the listener's ear is adding in transition effects or just other sort of effects like crashes and whatnot. For this example, I'm using this riser effect. Could turn that down a little bit. And it just adds a little variation, a little change. Something else that you can do is actually chop up like drum patterns and bass patterns. So what I did here is I chopped up the kick so it'll hit a bunch after each other, and that will, allow the artist to do something dope with that, as well as catch the ear of your listener. And what I did here sounds like this. Yeah, so it's nothing super complex, but it definitely does catch the ear of your listener. Another thing that you can do is add in effects and cut out certain frequencies and whatnot. And I like to use in the Fruity Love filter here, it's called the Simple Triangle Low Pass LFO. And what this does, you can create an automation clip and set a certain region of the song. So I'm gonna copy this region that we've been working on, and I'll move it over here. And let's say I want to do the first 4 bars of that. I want it to be, have this effect, have this low pass effect on it. So I can drag this in, and what Love Filter does is it actually automates it in the thing. So as long as you have it on, it will automate and move around. So it gives it a really dope sound. So yeah, you can like definitely extend it out. You know, I like to use this sometimes before I go back into a chorus, you know, just with the synth bass and maybe a hat or the melodies on there, just to give it, you know, kind of a unique kind of drop before we go back into the chorus. Be careful with those. You don't want to overuse them. There's songs that I've heard where they would just put effects on it all the time, and it just made me not want to listen to it at all. So, you know, don't go crazy on the effects, you know, focus more on substituting, you know, certain parts, removing stuff and adding stuff. But yeah, that's it for today's video. It was pretty short, but I hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys can go out and make your beats more interesting. If you guys did enjoy this or learn something, if you could go down, drop a like, you know, drop a comment, let me know what you thought. You know, all your support is greatly appreciated. And I was in my YouTube analytics page the other day, and only around 10% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. So go down right now, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell so you guys can be notified when I upload next. As I said, hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you guys later. Ba 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 bo.